Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Monitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BetSperts.
Welcome to The Deep Dive. Happy Thanksgiving weekend to you and yours. Hopefully you are all at a place you want to be and enjoying life. And this podcast, it's helping you through your travels, maybe, whatever the case is. I hope you are all enjoying this time of year, which is so delightful. And with that, let's get right into it. Unless you have some early thoughts on the ridiculousness of the news cycle lately, Andy.
We don't have time for that. There's 16 games. Somebody might be trying to listen to this. They got the Turkey Bowl to play this morning. We are going to get right the bleep in it. If you want recipes, drink recommendations, funny stories, and whatnot, you're gonna have to wait till halftime because we're gonna have to churn here. There's so many games. Even just my notes, it's like, oh my god, there's so much stuff going on. So let's fire it up right away with the Triple Dipper on Thanksgiving. Early morning game, Detroit at opposite of that, Chicago
hosting
at
Chicago. Yeah,
Detroit. It's always at Detroit. So we will we'll start with a divisional game, and this one has come down a little. It was 10.5. I think we're sitting at around
9.5.
9.5 now.
9.5. Yeah, this came off the 10. This is a non-trivia news. Circa's at 8
this morning. My
Circa's
God.
at 8.5. This is a big old move. I'm assuming it's because of concern about some of the Lions injuries. Notable names like Taylor Decker, Carlton Davis are huge question marks. Maybe the move this morning indicates that they're unlikely to go. I had the Khalif Raymond news crawl across the ticker this morning. He is on IR now. That matters. It's a little for sure. But we got ourselves kind of a mess of an injury report here for the Lions. Meanwhile, like the only team that seems to be healthy in the entire NFL right now is the Bears. I don't really get this. Bears coming off of a furious comeback that was oh so close to being meaningful against the Vikings. And in general, I just think Bears offense is figured some things out under Thomas Brown and should be able to go toe for toe with the Lions here. I just don't see this as a 2-score blowout, which is why I took 10.5. And at gun to head at 8.5, pass, I guess. I don't know, man. I know that's not how gun to head works, but 8.5 feels about right, honestly. Lions maybe.
Not how gun to head works. At 8.5,
not how gun to head. Yeah, not how gun to head works.
At 8.5, the bet is sell it to 10, sell it to 17. I mean, it does feel like if the Lions win, it isn't going to be, a game that's going back and forth over the 10, where it's, oh man, are we going to cover this or not? It feels more like the Packers-Niners game from last week, where, man, the Packers didn't even have to do much and they won by 28. Like, go look at Love's game stats for the day. It wasn't like he had a huge day. Just kind of got what they wanted, got a few turnovers. The Bears, it felt like the vibes were very bad, and I just don't know where they're at with that. Like, it has to feel a little better. Like, hey, our offense is starting to click a little with Thomas Brown, and Caleb's looking like he did earlier in the year when we were happy about it again. But it was still like two gut-wrenching, heart-crushing, soul-defeating losses at the end of games. They've had 3 of those now this year. At what point does it just turn sour? Because everybody still fucking hates Eberflus. And I think he's a bad coach. I think that affects you in game when your coach is making dumb mistakes, like not challenging the Addison play.
Yeah. But this is Thanksgiving rivalry game. You throw it out the window to a degree. Bears played the Lions really tough twice last year, and it was a worse team, I think. In general, I like the fact that the Bears kind of used a very good opponent-specific game plan to hurt the Vikings. I thought the game plan just looked kind of thoughtful, which I thought was big. And honestly, Caleb has been streaky this year. He had 3 negative total EPA games, 3 positive, 3 negative, and now 2 positive. The kind of the common theme with the two positives we've seen recently is they've both been Thomas Brown games. So maybe they continue to build. Maybe this is competitive, but yeah, at 8.5, I think I would look Lions or pass. Actually, maybe I should just middle and take all of the stress out of my Thanksgiving morning,
Just find
right?
10.
Like hope
Oh,
this lands
God,
a 9 or 10.
if this could land 10, my
That'd be
goodness,
nice.
would be in a good spot. And
Happy Turkey
oh my God.
Day. Should we? Man, I might do that actually.
I think a
I'm
lot
kind
of
of not
people
joking.
who did that, like, this is the one you're going to have while you're eating your meal. Like, what if you had a stress-free middle opportunity, a 20-1 play?
Oh, I've had a lot of Thanksgivings where you lose the first game and you're just pissed all day. Last year, I was just pissed all day because the Lions just came out and just took a shit on the field in the first quarter and it was over.
Here's the other one. Like, now that if it is down to 8.5 or 9 in books that have good pricing,
Patrick,
the Lions are a pretty good teaser leg at home here.
Oh my God! If you can capture free, oh my God!
I think if you like the Bears, you probably like this over 48 because this isn't going to get home on the back of the Bears defense. Like,
it's 47.5 now, man.
Yeah, there's I don't know if it's just like short week, less time to prepare offense and people are focusing on that. I mean, the shortest kind of week, if you're talking about playing in the morning on Thursday, you don't even get Thursday, the day of to do walkthroughs and extra preparation. So maybe there's something to that, but man, if you truly do think the Bears and the market loves the Bears, this line is kind of odd because it's basically saying the Bears defense is going to have a better day than suspected, apparently. And I don't see that at all. Like, their run stop unit is not good. I don't have anything positive. I don't have anything positive to say about that.
No.
So, we'll be like, well, they'll run the ball in the clock. No, they have explosive runs. That's what they have. Like, it's going to be 40-yard touchdowns to Gibbs and getting down there, matriculating Damon Ra and everyone else. And then Monty, but it's just going to be a lot of good, efficient running. So I do have faith in Caleb. He's been looking good in the last 2 games. I mean, it's not one of those where you're like, hey, he did it, but like, there's no like big but. This is against Flores and against, a good Packers defense.
Yeah.
Obviously the Patriots game was a super low spot. To bounce back from that and to look good a couple times in a row against divisional foes. Now, you got the easier defense of the 3, I suppose. And yeah, I think I'm talking myself into this over.
Okay. Well, we look to see if the Bears can complete the 3-way sweep of divisional covers. 3-way sweeps are, by the way, coming in all over the place as we did complete the 3-part sweep halftime bets. So
I talked you out of Baltimore -2.
Yeah, but it almost into a push. Into a push because of the going for 2. Ultimately we get that one. I will say I don't know for sure if we're going to do halftime for this game, but the writing on the wall is clear, which is regression is coming for us. So we're due for a just a no doubt stinker. That's it. We move to the middle. We move to a no doubt. We move to an afternoon game, which is a no doubt stinker. The Giants are taking on the Cowboys, and the best we can all hope for is that this is so hilariously bad that we all have good laughs about it. And maybe the good football was the friends we made along the way, laughing at how terrible the state of these 2 franchises is. Because honestly, I got nothing. The list of players who are missing practice is everyone who matters. I guess Dexter Lawrence was a full participant, but he's on the injury list. The list of I saw the Giants list and I was like, ooh, yikes, man. Oh, Illuminor is already out. Ojulari is already out. Watts is man. Like this could get weird. This could get bad. And then I saw the Cowboys list and it's everybody too. I honestly can't even handicap this game without some understanding of who cares, why, and who's going to play. Like, where do you even start?
Yeah, and if you remember when we talked about this on the review show and we looked at the early lines, I said I kind of want to lay it with Dallas, and you said like your numbers make that. I said, no, my numbers do not make that a play. Like
but
my
the
numbers,
quit is there. The quits are
my numbers say play the
quit is
Giants,
in the
but
air.
they're in such a weird spot. And then now, you're down a left tackle. The quarterback stuff is going to be weird. I think obviously Drew Lock is an upgrade over DeVito, especially.
We're just gonna assume that he plays.
I'm gonna go 90-10. I don't think it's foregone conclusion, but it does feel like 90-10 now that he didn't fly with the team. DeVito, that is, he's gonna come down later.
Oh.
They're doing extra like testing on his arm, and then he's going to rejoin the team.
Forearm of his throwing arm, right?
Yeah, it doesn't seem great. It's the day before the game. The game is an earlier, afternoon game tomorrow. Seems unlikely. Drew Lock is a slight upgrade, so
at least Drew Lock is in a really good place mentally, Andy. Not really. He was vocally
he's still an upgrade.
Passed over, but yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess so. I mean, he probably wants to put some good tape together, I guess, so that he gets a job next year. I assume he's not with the Giants.
He needs to do something here. Yeah, and then the Cooper Rush, his knees bothering him. Smith, Martin, Ferguson, Kendricks, Carson, Nealand, Vigil. Like, there's the Tuesday did not practice list was a mile long for the Cowboys. Like, I don't really feel like handicapping this game because there's so many injury unknowns and a lot of them matter. And then now, like, the biggest angle for the Cowboys was going to be this pass rush is getting a lot better.
Yeah.
It's starting to get back to what we thought it would be. And you're going to go up against a guy who can't avoid a sack if his mother's life depended on it, with the left tackle missing. Like, it's kind of the perfect spot for the, just like Giants team total under in that spot because they're constantly in 3rd and 28. But Drew Lock's an upgrade, and some of the injury news for the Cowboys has me probably passing on this game. Yeah, I just want it to be funny.
Yeah. I kind of want to play the over just because it's so low and it could get weird. Right?
That's fair.
Like, this has the potential for weirdness. What was it? The Cowboys over got home in the last weird Monday night game. I'm thinking the
Cowboys game got weird late.
Twice now, two times in a row. Yes, ever since their season has been over, they've just been producing weird games. The going for on 4th and 16, which set up the short field for the Texans to take that game over. I guess I don't know. I don't see enough resistance here from the Giants defense to think this is an underplay, and 37.5 is low. And you're right. Drew Lock is an upgrade in terms of potentially scoring points. So let's play some over 37.5. I think for the some leftover turkey lunch money.
This should be
night game.
I feel like people were on the props. There's the fun Thanksgiving props real quick. I don't know that they played this one. I'm talking about when I say they, it's the dirt balls in the Discord. I feel like somebody played this to be like the highest scoring game.
Ooh, well, that's
because
happened. What was the Cowboys Raiders? You remember that one was supposed to suck, and that one had like 80 points on Thanksgiving a couple years ago.
Yeah, if you just get a gross YOLO game, YOLO quarterbacks as top Lions. Suddenly there's it's like the worst 60-point game you've ever watched in your life. And, maybe Chicago and Green Bay end up in the 40s or low 50s, and it just snipes it. You would think it's obviously a big dog of the three. So that's a fun one. I might dig into that a little, play that price if I can find it. Yeah. I'm going to be dipping dangerously close to the Iowa border as I drive tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
I might have to wife, like, what if we go check out where Buddy Holly crashed one more time quick?
I love it. We had 2 very bad Cowboys games in a row in 2020 and 2021, and both were obscenely high scoring. Football team hung 41 on the Cowboys in 2020, and then the Raiders Cowboys was an absolute shootout, 36-33 in 2021. So there's precedent here for these games to just be a show for the fans and everybody just sort of putting on a show. So I don't know. I'm probably going to play a little here. I'm very, very, very small staking here on 37. And actually, you know what? The fact that Bookmaker and Circa are leading the charge here with the with the half point adjustment to the over, it makes me feel even more like this is probably just a good bet. Miami Green Bay is been bouncing all over the place, Andy. This is now an expensive-ish 3. You can find a 3 minus 110 out there if you look hard enough, but this has gone back and forth from 3 to 3.5 as the only clear two-way action I've seen of the Thursday games. The weather was looking cold enough that I thought the under was absolutely the jam here. It's up to 48, so it's somebody very much disagrees. I still think it's going to be quite cold at night in Green Bay, which could affect both of these offenses, but Miami in particular. And I'll be honest with you, if there's one unit that I think I just completely whiffed on as far as being somewhat competent, it's the Miami defense. Like, they continue to get better. And they have, the same sort of characteristics and staff of the Mike McDonald in Seattle, which is also getting better. And this may just be a characteristic of McDonald's family tree defenses of improvement over the balance of the year. So I think I'm just going to stick to my guns on the under here, even though market is hard against me.
Yeah, some of it is opponent. You play the Raiders and Patriots at home 2 weeks in a row. Your defense is going to look better. But on the road in Los Angeles 3 weeks ago against the Rams, we saw something that was surprising. It's been up and down for me trying to figure out exactly how good they are. They got a little something out of Chop Robinson now. They're getting a little bit out of the secondary. And their offense, I think this is helping too. That Tua's been playing so well. He's putting them in good situations as a defense because they're scoring a lot more and more often. Even against the Bills, 4 weeks ago, it was a 27-point effort and a loss, like 27-point effort and a loss to the Cardinals. That's where I was confused about the defense because it looked very bad at the end of this. This was another. This is what I was thinking of too. The Finns pack lowest scoring.
Like
day
I like
was
that
3-1. That was something I didn't see in the Discord as well. And then the only things that scare me about that is Miami's offense looks different. It isn't just predicated on let's focus on Tyreek and a ton of what we've done with Tyreek and Achane constantly spamming that and making them get
their running offense sucks, man.
Yeah, but it's like, hey, let's unlock Jonnu and let's throw it around. Let's target like 9 different guys today. The passing offense feels different.
Okay.
And that's my concern with this because Alexander does not seem likely to play again.
No.
I think he's almost certainly out.
We agree.
So I'm slightly in on Miami here. I don't think it's going to be a play. But I mean, if it keeps going and we get 3.5 at like some reasonable price, I'm going to have to play that. I make it 2.5 and don't kind of buy the Tua cold weather thing. The sample size is small and the weather doesn't look that bad. It's kind of like, all right, it's going to be like 30. It's not
it's going to feel colder though.
If the wind, well, I don't know, the wind chill is going to be like in the 20s. The one in Kansas City was like 30 below wind chills. That's it was massive nasty difference. Like right now it's jacket weather. That's like don't go outside weather.
Okay. Well, so far, all of the confirmed injuries we've got are bad news for the Dolphins defense. Bowser, Fuller, and Walker are all out.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I think Alexander's definitely out. And Xavier McKinney was a DNP, which surprised me. I didn't even know he was hurt. But yeah, I think this is probably Packers under, but I have very low confidence. Tua is against a playoff team. Tua is also in prime time. Tua against a playoff team in prime time. I've seen this one before. Yeah.
McKinney was personal issue or personal.
Oh,
reasons.
Was it?
Yeah, he's not hurt. He had something he had to go take care of on a short week. I don't know if it's like Black Friday sales or what, or if he had an illness or death in the family. But he's expected to practice day.
That was fine. Personal. Okay.
Yeah, but it is Fuller and Jair matter to these secondaries. That's what scares me about these.
Dubs matters too. He's concussed.
Dubs Didn't hear any good news on him.
He's playing the best of all of the wide receivers right now. He's playing better than Reed.
Watson is the best if he had like different
if
hands. If
somebody
else they could surgically graft someone else's hands to his.
Yeah, they need to Frankenstein together one wide receiver one, which has been what people have been saying about this team for way too long. It's turning into a reality. Anyway,
I'll be on this
Jacobs
3.5
really
if
matters.
it gets reasonable. Yes.
Yeah, Jacobs matters the most, and I think I think that's really where the bread is buttered for Green Bay in this one. Actually, I kind of feel stupid. Like maybe Miami's the bet, but I can't bet Tua in this spot. No way. All right, let's carry on. Black Friday. Kansas City is 13-point favorites. The total is sitting at 42. This is now a confirmed AOC game. The total has come down.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs defense didn't cover themselves in glory at all last week against Bryce Young and the Panthers. But the Panthers are now an over team, so take that for what it's worth. I don't think the Vegas kind of snaps into functionality in this game at all. I think this is either Chiefs or pass, and I think I've already made it very obvious and clear in all the media we've done this week that I think betting Mahomes for the MVP is the better angle, because I think he's got a 4-touchdown, 0-interception performance on tap here. His best game of the season came against this Raiders defense a few weeks ago, and all that he's done since then is add Hopkins and to generate more chemistry with the ancillary weapons like Worthy and Gray and Watson. What do you think?
Yeah, this is not a strong look from either of these big numbers. I struggle with them. Obviously, like we talked about, Minshew broke his collarbone. AOC, the timing just kind of worked out. He was always going to get back to at least practicing and probably being ready to be a QB2 in this spot. So he did have that injured thumb. He's playing, which is better than Ritter, but it is still a lot worse than what you want to put out there when you're going to try to beat the Chiefs. Pacheco has a shot to play. Amenahu has a shot to play. They do have
Pacheco, yeah.
But kicker.
Pacheco was a full participant.
Down,
I'm assuming he just plays.
Yeah, it's either like the only issue I can see would be like the Nico Collins thing, where it's like, yeah, he's good to go, but do we need to play him in this game?
Yeah, Kareem Hunt's been fine.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like Hunt's been fine. This is a short week. Do we want to wait and ramp it up into next week? So maybe he's not like even if he plays, maybe if he's kind of splitting time. Amenahu, I think, goes. Then, like
Amenahu, by the way,
be on their third.
Circle that one, because Amenahu back should matter, right? Like they need a pass rush desperately.
That helps Jones a ton.
Huge for that defense if they get him back. The kicker problem is noted. Schrader DNP'd. Do they have a kicker? Do they need one?
They signed another guy I've never really heard of, because I can't name like
I didn't know
kickers.
Schrader was. I didn't know they had signed Schrader. They got Matthew Wright now. Matthew.
Oh, I do
Wright.
know him. He kicked. I'm sure he kicked for Detroit. That sounds correct. I didn't want to say right there. Butker got hurt. I want to call everybody Hopkins right now. Butker got hurt. They signed the Schrader kid. He was all right, but he hurt a hamstring. The other issue with the injury stuff is the running back stuff for Las Vegas. And we just talked about Amenahu being back. And if this pass rush gets after it, it's a bad spot for AOC. None of these quarterbacks are great with sack avoidance. And we saw it was kind of what we saw with Denver last week, where, if you do have a pass rush, what Denver does, which KC really does, and you become one-dimensional because you're behind to a good team and all your running backs are hurt or shitty, it's just going to exacerbate those problems. And it feels like a 5-6 sack day for Kansas City. It just really comes down to their care level at the end if they cover this number.
For what it's worth, and not to put you on the spot, but Matthew Wright has kicked for 6 teams in the NFL. None of them are Detroit.
I thought it was the Lions. God damn it.
6 teams he's kicked for. Most recently, he kicked for the San Francisco 49ers. He did a 1-game spot start for the Niners at Seattle Thursday. Yeah, this year. He went 3 for 3 extra points, 3 for 3 field goals. He made one from each of 20 to 29, 30 to 39, and 40 to 49. And you know what? they probably should have held on to him because Moody has sucked, and they probably would have been better off with Mr. Wright. Anyway, moving on to Sunday.
Yep, we are on to the morning of Sunday.
Tenney, Washington.
Yeah, this is
can't really understand this one. 5.5 seems awfully low. Have we downgraded Washington that much that quickly? And is this all just the Cliff Kingsbury fade train? Like, what's going on here?
So I believe it's not. I do not believe in that. I think
it's the injury to Daniels.
Everybody gets worse throughout the season offensively for the most part. Why do you think defenses get better? Because offenses get worse. That's just it's how give and take works. That is a zero-sum game. That's how life works.
Well,
I believe it's
also the more tape people have on you, they can tailor a defense to stop what you're good at. And the good offensive coordinators like the Andy Reids of the world hide some good plays. The other good offensive coordinators try to arc so that they're peaking at the right time. And Cliff Kingsbury just puts all of his answers on tape in weeks 1 through 4. And by week 13, he's generally figured out. But yeah.
I downgraded Washington. Jaden Daniels is not as good when he's hurt. My number was too high. It has to be lower for this.
Okay.
I lowered it, raised Tennessee a little defensively. Their defense is, even without Snead, it's looking good enough at times. And I'm still at like 8.
Snead's been awful this year anyway. You're at 8? You're at 8?
Like, 8? I don't know what I need to do with my Washington number.
Big number. My Washington number right now is 0.6 better than an average on a neutral. I have them as the 12th best offense and the 19th best defense.
All right,
what
Tennessee
are you
numbers too low. My Tennessee is like -5.
I'm at -5 for Tennessee also. So I guess I'm not that far. I'm at like 7 here, which is why I'm at 6.8, which is why it's not like a must run and bet type of number for me.
Yeah, I don't know if you believe in spots. I guess it is the, Tennessee off a big win, divisional win, fun game for them in a lost season. Washington off a bad loss, a couple of losses they need to get right, back against the wall. Must win game. The must win does not mean must cover. We've proven that over and over again, and it is a weird number sitting there kind of in that dead zone. 5.5. Tennessee is on a back-to-back travel spot, and this is kind of a sneaky spot for the pass rush to get right. We've seen good games from this pass rush despite losing, a key component on the inside. But we've seen days where this pass rush is good, and Tennessee has not been good in pass pro. Levis is not good in spots where he has to improvise, spots where he has to play out of structure. We've seen a lot of sacks and bad plays, so maybe a spot for that to get right. But yeah, I don't want to try to catch the falling knife, I guess, with Washington.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of where my head is at too. I passed on this one. All right, let's I don't think Daniels is really at risk of losing the offensive rookie of the year, but that's worth following. I think Dan Quinn needs to come home hard to get back into the coach of the year discussion, which sucks for him, but is the reality. And I hope that Washington does well because they'd be a fun team to bet against in the playoffs. The Chargers go at the Falcons, and I will be goddamned if I can understand why the Chargers are favored in this game and why the market has effectively upgraded them based, compared to the look ahead after what people saw on Monday Night Football. This is sort of the worst spot of any team this week and maybe of any team this year. The Chargers are coming off of 2 primetime games. They're traveling across the country, and they are taking on a team that is getting healthy on defense and is coming off of the bye. Rest travel disadvantages are massive. Going from preparing for a primetime game twice, 2 weeks in a row, to getting your body ready for a 10 a.m. kickoff never works out well. Chargers in general have not covered themselves in glory in the early games that they've kicked off of in recent years. And I think that even without adjusting for rest and travel, this should be more like a pick 'em. I think Atlanta's the obvious bet, maybe the bet of the week. Where are you at?
So I upgrade all my numbers based on all the stats I pull in and all the stuff I've done, and then make adjustments for injuries. And then I go look at the tab in my spreadsheet that adds it all up and says this is what your fair number should be to start with. And then if I'm wildly off, I've probably missed something. And
Sure.
I need to go look at the numbers on those teams. I did like 3 cycles of this with the Atlanta Chargers game
Mhm.
because of my number was embarrassingly off of market. And even with the downgrades at the Atlanta defense, I have Atlanta favored. I have Atlanta as a tiny little favorite here. I bet this on the look at it 1.5. I thought it would come to a pick, even if
don't
it was a
get this.
close game, even if the Chargers won a close game. I didn't quite understand this. Obviously, you really need to get a grip on the Atlanta injuries when that sort of stuff starts trickling out later today. We're doing this earlier than we normally do. We
Does
don't have
somebody
all
know
the
that
injury
defense
practice
is still
reports, but like
turbo fucked or something?
I don't, yeah, maybe somebody has info, but you had 3 corners, Alfred Hughes, Hamilton. You had Saquon Graham, Smith Williams up front.
Yeah.
And then obviously Troy Anderson matters a ton. Bertrand was concussed. If it's really good news for a portion of those defensive players that made them look like absolute ass against Denver,
That was
then this should
such
be
a throwaway game.
this should be a good game. I don't know. This Chargers defense is a little fraudulent to me. We saw that at times when Baltimore kind of got what they wanted when they needed it. And Atlanta's a good enough offense where if the defensive injuries even shake out even a little bit for me, I don't understand how this is a road favorite in an absolute awful spot. They're off Monday Night Football, so you got a short week. Not only a short week, but a short week that includes Thanksgiving. I don't know what these NFL teams do, if they just say, hey, fucking tough cookies. You don't get to see your family today. We got to get to Atlanta. We got to get ready for this. Nobody gets practice off on Thursday, but a short week in Thanksgiving might be something I look at.
I could see Jim Harbaugh being like that.
I don't know. He's family, he drinks his milk with his family faith football, but Atlanta off the bye.
He's a hardo, though.
Yeah, he is a hardo. Atlanta off the bye, Chargers off Monday Night Football, traveling cross country. It's not a great spot. Like nothing, unless all the injuries for Atlanta are absolutely just fist fucked. This should be a pick for me. So I'm going to play this.
I guess
normally I would always play money line here. You guys know me.
Yes.
I don't love playing 2.5, 1.5, 2.
Sure.
I am splitting my stake because it's Atlanta.
Yeah, they do some dumb things.
They do stupid stuff.
I will say that I don't really like the potential. Here's what we know about the Chargers. Like, they're not good in comeback mode. Like, this is not a team that I think you can expect to fight through a double 2-score deficit with the weapons that they have in the passing game just being so putrid. And I think the defense is, you use the word fraudulent, and I won't go quite that far, but I think they've been solved. I think the Ravens put it on tape exactly what you need to do to take away their best formation, which is the heavy nickel. You just need to be heavier personnel, and you need to put a big body on Derwin James, and that unlocks everything else you want to do offensively. And I don't know, this is not hand in glove with personnel for Atlanta to be able to do that. But where we've seen Atlanta suck offensively this year has been when Kirk Cousins has been under extreme duress. That's been on the road for the most part. It's been against good pass rushes. And right now, I don't think you can really say that about the Chargers. Now, if Mac is fully healthy and is a menace out there, then maybe it's a little bit different. But Joey Bosa looks broken. And I think the Chargers pass rush has been a little bit propped up by playing terrible quarterbacks for most of this year.
I don't even have good, even that.
Falcons,
I don't have good
I think,
numbers on them for the year.
Yeah, Dobbins out too matters. Yeah.
So yeah, Dobbins is out. He is missing this game. He might miss multiple
MCL sprain.
And then Khalil Mack and Bosa, I don't have good numbers for the entire season. It hasn't been like propped up. It's been propped up on names, I think. Like, they have a couple of good pass rushers there. I haven't seen very many good games from at least the stats that I pull that I think matters. I think this is a good game for the Atlanta offensive line and probably a good game for Bijan.
Okay. Let's keep carrying on. I agree with all that. Pittsburgh Cincy is a tricky one. Pittsburgh has a rest disadvantage despite the 10 days off of Thursday Night Football. They're on the road for the second straight week, in division on the road for the second straight week, and up against the Cincinnati team that, coming off a bye, should have some opportunity for Big Lou to come up with defensive scheme that makes Russell Wilson's life uncomfortable. I keep waiting for he can't keep getting away with this moon ball along the left sideline to be defended. If Blue Anaeruma gets burned more than once in this game with that pass, I'm going to be pissed. I didn't bet it yet. I'm leaning Bengals. I saw your newsletter today. You have leaning Steelers. What's the Steelers case here?
It is the Cincinnati defense. I don't think we can say
Okay.
anything. Like, I don't know. The big Lou love is probably gone. This run defense,
it's very, very bad.
The run defense is very, very bad. Pittsburgh, we talk about the moon ball all the time because it's such a freaking grating play. It just, especially if you bet against this team, it just murders your insides. But they're perfectly willing to go to both backs and go to them plenty often if it's working. They're fine going to the short stuff. They're fine going to the short stuff to the boundaries that Russell Wilson has loved forever. And yeah, I can't find any advantages for the Cincinnati defense, no matter what they decide to do. Even off the bye here, I get that there's a rest disparity, but I think I've finally come to terms that Pittsburgh might not be a good team in the traditional, how we usually look at good teams, but the sum of all the things they do has made them a good team and a pain to play. This is a bad spot, playing your second straight divisional road game against a team coming off the bye with an amazing quarterback. And you're going to ask a lot out of this defense, but it does feel like this is a close game and it shouldn't be, field goal for either team here.
Okay. 47 and a half.
That's what I was going to ask you about. Like, how do you feel about the Cincy offense against this? It's a good defense, but it's shown cracks.
It's a good defense, but would you be surprised to know they're just as bad at defending the run as the Bengals since midseason? Like, their run defense has completely cratered. I don't know what's going on. TJ Watt's not making any of the chaotic impact plays he was making. And I think that with T. Higgins available and Chase available, you can put a ton of pressure on this secondary. So I think, Steelers defense to me is pretty pedestrian right now. They've been trending the wrong direction for the last about 6 weeks.
I wonder if it's been Herbig. He
could be.
He's missed a few games. They've had a few guys out. The secondary has played so much better, in my opinion, in nice spots. So
would you be surprised to know that the Steelers are second worst in EPA allowed on the ground since week 8? Only Carolina has been worse than them. And they are allowing almost a 50% success rate to running backs right now. Like, they're not defending the run, period. I don't really know what to say about it.
I think some of that is, you played the Ravens in one of those games. You played the Commanders on the road when they were running well. I mean, some of that is probably opponent based, because if you look at the sum of the year, the whole year numbers for the run game, it's been good. Not great, but good. And this is not a good Cincinnati Bengals running back room. I don't know. I probably am just going to do myself a favor. This is like what you talked about with not betting the early game, or not betting some of these Thanksgiving games. Not betting Steelers games is probably going to be good for your health.
Yes, that's fair. All right, let's move on then. The Colts are a cheap 3 at New England. The Colts have some important injuries. The Colts have bounced back and forth between 3 and 2.5 here. I am going back to the well, despite getting my teeth kicked in last week when they were home against the Lions, catching 7.5. I still think that there is something there offensively. New England's defense was very exploitable last week against Miami. I could think, even in the absence of downs, I still think the Colts get this done. My fair here is 4.1. I don't know. I played it. It's too late. It's in the book for me. Where are you at? 4.5 here for you?
4.5.
Okay. So we're kind
And
of in
this
the
is
same space, same ballpark.
yeah, this is one of the look aheads that stood out with me as well. It's been a good the indie run defense has been decent enough, especially compared to what they have to try to tackle here. If they do try to just take the ball out of Drake May's hand a little here. The injuries haven't been great. Indy's
No.
run offense this feels like the spot. And I know people have been very down on JT. He's had some tough tests against, especially when you get in a trailing game state like they did last week. It feels like a really good game for him against this. I don't have very good ratings for the New England run defense. And then, the other spot is just, it seems like Indy's pass rush should succeed against its offensive line. Their offensive line should succeed against a, sometimes non-existent New England pass rush. And then, some of the coverage unit, it's good enough against a bad passing team. Drake May has been fun, but he's still not good because he doesn't have the pieces around him. And, Indy has something to play for here. They have a chance to make the playoffs. They're still not out of anything, including the divisional championship, which is wild considering how just, my God, the AFC South has just gotten disgusting year after year. So, yeah, I make this 4.5. I think it's a good spot for Richardson. The Downs injury sucks.
Yeah, it sucks
because
he's they're on record. They're not expecting him, right?
No, he seems very unlikely to play. Bernhard Raimann looks like he might be back. He was a limited participant today. He might play. That matters a lot, getting your offensive line completely together. Wasn't a lot on the New England injury report. They are getting Jabril Peppers back. He was on the commissioner's.
Oh, yeah. Was he hurt?
No, he was not hurt.
Oh, mentally? His brain has been damaged to the point of him being a lunatic?
I think he got in legal trouble. I'm trying to remember what he did.
He was a maniac. They gave him
didn't he
was it off when he was doing some crazy shit? Yeah.
It was personal conduct policy. I don't remember what he did. He did something, got him in trouble.
He was arrested for assault and drug possession in Massachusetts on October 9th.
Yeah, that's bad. That was a bad one. So he's back though. He's cleared that. So I don't know. I'm on Indy. I'll be on them again. I think you're getting a discounted price based on them playing. I mean, is there a bigger difference in power rating between playing Detroit and then going and playing New England, even if it is a road game?
I don't think so.
I don't know that I have New England last, but they're close now.
Yeah, New England for me is pretty squarely bottom 3.
Oh, they are last. I have them.
I have minus 6.4 for New England. I have the Giants and the Panthers worse than them.
Yeah, Giants and Panthers and New England are very close. They've dug a second basement. They have their own tier.
The Raiders are circling the drain, trying to breathe down their necks for me. We'll see what they look like with the AOC out there. All right. I didn't play this Houston-Jacksonville game, although there's been one-way support for the Jags. The big surprise here is that Doug Peterson is going to be on the sideline. The less big surprise is that Trevor Lawrence used the bye to get feeling better and is having great practice, Andy. So no Mac Jones. Trevor Lawrence is going to get the go-ahead. I don't really know what the state of that locker room is in terms of how much people were coming back from the bye and like, oh, Doug, what are you doing here? Oh, okay.
Did you forget some stuff in your office? Or
guess we're just gonna keep.
Did you have to do an exit interview? Like,
yeah. What?
Why are you on the practice field? Where's the whistle coming from?
So, yeah, we're just gonna keep doing this then. And I mean, the whole state of that franchise is very, very tough for me to get a read on. I would say that anything could happen here from the Jags sending a Brandon Staley-like message that the Chargers sent last year against the Raiders. That could happen. It might happen this week. It might happen in a couple weeks. Who the fuck knows? Or the Jags could be like the team that like is poorly rated that everyone has forgotten about that comes down the home stretch, winning and covering games. Like Trevor Lawrence is back and he's slinging it. He looks great. Like a rainbow of possibilities could come out of this, and I just have no fucking grounding. So I will be passing.
Yeah, that's probably a good way to phrase it. I don't have a lot more to say on that. Is just like Houston has obviously been disappointing lately. We don't quite understand what's going on there. We got Nico back, and we thought that was going to fix everything. The defense was massively disappointing. I had this as a very good defense. They looked lost at times. Jalen Petre hurt his shoulder. They had another cornerback that had a knee injury. I need to get those updated. But the big thing is, like Trevor Lawrence is practicing. That's an upgrade. Tank Bigsby and ETN both looking like they're ready to go. So despite what you think about this team, the coach, how much they're, like you said, circling the drain for the Raiders. This was like the original circle the drain team this year. They have to get some sort of upgrade. And even if I do upgrade this number a little, for Trevor, I'm probably at a point where I would think this is a play on Jacksonville off the bye, but I don't know what their headspace is, and that's probably a good enough reason to stay off it.
When you take turnovers out of the equation, their pass defense is allowing 0.4 EPA per dropback this season, Andy. That is effectively like, think about the best quarterback season you saw from your favorite quarterback. I don't think he was as good as the Jags are making quarterbacks look this year.
I think you might want to go back and look at some Dante Culpepper numbers.
Did he have some 0.4 years?
Who knows? Probably, honestly.
Yeah. I have to go into my annals because most of the sites that kind of free aggregate EPA now don't go back that far. So I don't know why they changed that, but whatever. There's probably an archive somewhere for them as well. But I feel like the, what was it, 19 Mahomes or 19 Lamar, 18 Mahomes, like those guys were like flirting with 0.4 EPA per dropback, and that's what the Jags are making the opposing quarterbacks look like so far. So unless that massively swings, which it could, the Jags are going to continue to lose games. And actually, this is an important one to watch Houston's offense, because if CJ Stroud continues to sophomore slump here, even against this defense, then this is cause for alarm. I would assume that he looks good here. The total being 44, that makes no sense to me. None. Like my fare here is not even in the same stratigraphic category with 44. I feel like fancy. This is. Do you want to make any kind of, or do you have any interest in a team total secret pod play from this game for either of these two teams? We're going to be seeing something like 23.5 for Houston, 18.5 for the Jags. 18.5 for the Jags team total over. Sound good against this Houston defense with some of the injuries that they've gotten recently?
Yeah, like I still have such good Houston numbers. It's hard for me to justify that off paper, but with my eyes watching what happened last week.
Yeah. Dude, Doug Peterson and Press Taylor have been they've been in the lab cooking for 2 weeks, Andy.
Oh my God. Pass on that. We're on to the next game. That's such a bad idea. Okay. Such a bad idea.
Pass. Okay. All right. Well, I think that one's the one, but we'll come back to it. Arizona, Minnesota, you got any thoughts?
I don't know what to make of what Arizona's. Talk to me about what you thought was the issue for Arizona last week.
They just ran into a better team on the road that was playing well. No. Oh, I got it. I gotta retract my statement because I rewatched this game. What went wrong for Arizona last week was Leonard Williams.
It did feel like Seattle was starting to come together in some that. So I put that in my notes. Like, is Seattle's defense just finally starting to cohere?
Sure.
Adhere to each other, adhere to something special, and look Like
Bro.
you hired the best
Yeah.
defensive coordinator as your head coach.
Are they blossoming?
It does feel like they're starting to maybe metamorphosize and turn into something good, because I mean this is an Arizona offense. It's been a pain in the ass for a lot of teams, and they looked bad. And it's funny too, because this is about one of the worst games I've seen from the Minnesota defense. Outside of playing the Lions, which what are you going to do in that spot? It's the freaking Lions. It's crazy that I'm saying that still. It's weird. 30 years of that team just sucking ass, and now they're this juggernaut that we put above the Chiefs at this point. It is another travel spot. You go to Minnesota, you play indoors at least, but it is a Vikings team that looked a little shitty at times. Pace went to the IR, so they lost an important linebacking piece. They did bring in Daniel Jones, so if we get an injury, suddenly we have I don't think he's going to be playing backup this week. I think he'll probably still be on the practice squad, or maybe it's an emergency. But Minnesota had a bad defensive injury. This total is down to 45. So this was one that was like 47 on the look ahead. And I know Arizona didn't score a lot of points last week, but if they bounce back at all, this is a Minnesota offense that should, if pressed, could put up 30 on this team. I don't know. It feels like the total's getting a little lower, and I guess that depends on how you feel about, was Seattle's defense for real? Is Arizona's offense just fine? And Minnesota's probably the better team here. I'm pretty much on market with this side.
Okay. I basically was square on, which is why I just threw the lob to you to handicap this one, because I'm at 4 and 45, so I got nothing. I will note that Leonard Williams, by the way, last week, 9 pressures, 2.5 sacks, and 32 pass rushes. That's absolutely insane. He batted a ball down. He had 6 tackles. I was blown away by how singularly he was the reason that the Cardinals offense looked atrocious last week. So yeah, I mean, yeah, the pace injury matters. I think Minnesota's defense could get a little bit of pressure on them. 45 does feel like an over, especially for an indoor game on a fast track.
I might look at this. Yeah, and Arizona team total 20.5. Someone says in the chat there, Kevin V. Yeah, that's something under. I'm gonna put this as a question mark. Mini over? Question mark. All right, what's up? Seattle, New Jersey.
Yeah, Jets are coming off their bye. They have a rest advantage and they have a travel advantage. And for those reasons, I did not bet Seattle, despite the fact that I feel like Seattle is coming and the Jets are not. The Jets offense, and really, like, the Jets are so dysfunctional, I barely even know what to say at this point. They fired their GM. They have guys who should probably be on IR. Whoever is the acting GM is not doing that job. And so they're not like really trying to kind of like doing things other teams are doing to try to roster a 53-man, group of healthy players. And the funniest part is, like, when they fired the GM, like, I was like, wow, that's weird. Why would they do that now? They must have somebody that they really want to kind of get going on early. And then they bring Tannenbaum back? Get the fuck out of here. Like, that was one of the weirder, dumber decisions, and it makes the firing of the firing of Douglas make even less sense. I think that the Jets defense is pretty broken, schematically broken. Players are broken. Everybody has taken a step back. They have no ability to tackle in the running game. I think Seattle can basically kind of win this one with offense, and the defense should be able to continue to show us their second half awesomeness. And if it weren't for the rest and travel, I would be a Seattle backer here. But I'm just gonna kind of kick my feet up and hope that some of my Seattle upside bets from preseason are still alive.
Yeah, I looked at this price, and we talked about it already. I thought Seattle had a nice defensive performance. Maybe they're rounding into form. This is going to be a team that's going to be hard to beat. Geno stops throwing, interceptions in the end zone, It's going to be a very hard team to beat if the defense is playing well. Obviously, I had to do some adjusting to them. I did some adjustments, and I gave the Jets a little bonus for being off the bye and this being a bad travel position for Seattle. And I'm like, oh no, it says to bet the Jets here. Like my numbers lean slightly towards the Jets. With the Breece Hall injury,
Geno Smith. Good call, Gio.
It is a Geno Smith revenge spot. But between the Breece Hall injury and not knowing exactly if he's going to go, Tyron Smith is out this week. Rodgers is dealing with like swelling in his knee, among other things, but he won't go get additional imaging and stuff done, which is super
cool.
Weird. And probably. I guess if you don't really have a GM, who's gonna yell at you?
Yeah, and if you don't, if you don't trust medicine anyway, yeah.
I think this is a spot where you could plug your nose and tease the Jets. They're at home. It's too. If you did want to get real weird with it and bet the Jets, maybe a good time to mention our friends over at Profit X, where you friends can get a $300 in profit cash over the next 30 days using our code BetSperts. It's free, extra bonus cash when you sign up as a new user. Use that promo code BetSperts. The price is Seattle -2, -106. New York Jets +2, -104. So if you want the best price, low vig, low over round, maybe go find that over there. If you want to get weird with it, you can get a 2.5 on the Jets for -110. You get extra half point and you're still playing standard juice. So go check it out. Links in the description. Like I said, it's available in like 40 states. It's just another book you need to add to your repertoire, your stable, your portfolio. And I might tease the Jets, but it won't be one of my highly used teaser legs.
I will mention this right now. Seattle is my favorite for the NFC West, but it is by a teeny tiny amount over the Cardinals. I have both teams at like 33%. I have the poor sad Niners at like 5. The Rams are the third highest for me at like 10. I know that probably doesn't add up to I'll pull up the exact numbers, but
let's take while you're doing that, let's take a little break on I think it was in week 12 power rating. So I did this had been like a week ago, I suppose. I looked at all the playoff prices. I like the Ravens to make the playoffs at -2,000. My fare was $26.77. Didn't play that, but I found the best price on all these, and I said Rams 550 West, Seattle 600 to win the West. Now they lead. Commanders 450 to win the East. That is worse now, much worse. Vikings 600 to win the North. That got better.
Okay,
not by a lot because Detroit can't.
You need that. You need that head-to-head win.
Yeah, Baltimore +160 to win the AFC North. Everything went right for that. The Browns won, the Bengals won, the Ravens won. That's probably on the other side of even at this point. Definitely. Broncos to make the playoffs was even money at some places. They got the win. And Colts to make the playoffs +180. That one's underwater at this point. So some good and some bad there, but I just really wanted to point out that Seattle was 6-1 at some places to win the division. And yes, as Patrick's pointing out, they have a massive leverage game against Arizona.
Dude, the Ravens are -2. Ravens are -230
to win the division.
Yeah, -230. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. I suppose that was big leverage games, guys. Cool.
Yeah, that's a nice one. I will mention that my numbers for the NFC West currently are 40 for Seattle, 38 for Arizona, 15 for LA, and 7 for the Niners. Although it's tough to project the Niners because who the hell knows what's going on with their health.
Here's my question. What did you do with your number for that Niners team this week?
I went like
a
70% chance that Purdy plays.
I went 60-40 Allen.
Oh, let's come back to that. I'll
Okay.
tell you why. And I'm just wild ass guessing here
Okay.
for
Next game.
everything for the Niners.
I'm
No
going to
clue.
tease the Jets, and I'm going to hate my life the whole time.
All right. You got any interest in? Can I sell you on a game where you have a defense that can only get it done with the blitz going up against a player who recently solved the blitz? Yes, go ahead.
News from Spencer Couch, who I
Hit
don't
it.
recognize. This guy might be new to the chat, but he's been bringing the heat today.
Nice.
Atlanta bet to +1 at Circa.
Shit,
Good.
yeah.
Good.
Fuck yeah.
Something is making sense in my life. All right.
Good.
What were you trying to pitch me? You were trying to sell me this pen.
Yeah, let me can I sell you on two teams that have very poor defenses. And one of them really only succeeds when they blitz. And they're playing a quarterback who previously had absolutely no answers when blitzed, but has recently shown proof that he can play in the face of sustained pressure. And what I'm referring to, of course, is the fact that we have two dead nut over teams right now with Tampa Bay and Carolina, and a total that is in the mid 40s, which is absurdity.
When I looked at totals, obviously this popped a little, especially with the recent stuff. In fact, it is my second biggest advantage cumulative for offenses.
Yeah.
And this is using me having Carolina essentially as the 28th best offense. I haven't even given them the proper upgrade they probably need for how comfortable, how confident, and it's hard to use enough superlatives about Bryce Young because he doesn't look like he's spazzing out at the first sign of pressure. He's trusting his line. He honestly, what he's doing is trusting the offensive coordinator to tell him, like, this is how long this play takes to develop. You're going to get hit once in a while, but you should be able to make these throws. You don't need to bail. He was bailing so fast on stuff or making bad decisions on checking to the wrong read, and he's making the right reads. He's making the throws, and he played a way better defense. And as Patrick pointed out, this opened even lower. I think I'm with you. We have a lot of agreements this week. I make
this 49.
This is like I said, this is my biggest cumulative advantage that two offenses have over the opposing defenses for the week. Second biggest.
Okay.
The biggest would be Chargers Atlanta.
Let's talk about the current rating for the Buccaneers offense. I have them as a good offensive line, a better than average skill group now that Mike Evans is returned, and an average quarterback in Baker Mayfield. For the Carolina offense, this is as high as I have rated this unit all season by margin. I have given Bryce Young currently a 30th percentile grade, a 3 out of 10. Their skill group gets a 3 from me. It's mostly Chubba Hubbard related. And the O-line for me is maybe the strongest part of the Carolina offense, and they get a 4. So that in totality makes Carolina the 26th best offense in the NFL right now. And again, like really, if we hadn't seen proof last week that Bryce Young has kind of gotten past his fear of the blitz, then I wouldn't really be interested in this one, because it's like, shit, man, you play a 46, the next thing you know, the next thing you know, like, oh shit, you play a 46.5, next thing you know, you're cheering for Tampa Bay to get to 47 on their own because that's the way that it goes sometimes. But no, the word to describe the current situation, the current reality for the Panthers offense is functional.
It is. It's gotten a little better in this and that, but it's still, in my mind, and what I looked at the last few weeks, even when they've looked better, it's a very bad run defense, and Tampa Bay can continually cycle in fresh bodies in that spot as well, and they're about all as good as each other. Even
their hot hand thing is working, and so is their screen pass game, by the way, which is
everything short. Yeah, everything short is working, which was nice when they were missing Evans. Now Evans is back. I know the focus is on Evans, but my God, they can run the ball, and it's a bunch of it's not no names, but these guys have been good. So, I agree with you. This is probably should be 48 at this point.
Okay.
I do want to ask you if you'd like to celebrate a little anniversary for the Panthers.
Oh yeah.
It is you don't know? Oh God.
No.
Look at me. Look at like
27th of the 27th of November.
It is the
Nothing.
1 month anniversary of the last time the Carolina Panthers had to leave Charlotte. They have not played a game. They have not played a game on the road since October 27th. They've
Wow.
had 2 home games and a bye week and play another home game. They are, I should show this on your chart. They have a distinct travel advantage, even though Tampa Bay is not going very far. They haven't had to travel in a month at this point.
Amazing. That's crazy.
There's weird, you get weird schedule spots.
That helps stabilize an offensive line and a young quarterback. All right, let's keep moving on. We're dragging a little here. I played the Rams against the Saints. I get it. The Rams are in a not great spot. Travel disadvantage, rest disadvantage. But the Saints' run defense is a huge problem right now that is not being clearly covered. And I think the Rams can get balanced offensive attack here. And I don't see there being any serious issue with the pass rush against Matthew Stafford and co. So I think the Rams are going to be able to get into the high 20s, low 30s in this one. And I don't see the same for Mr. Carr, who is going to be under duress from the only good thing the Rams do on defense, which is rush the passer.
Oh yeah, this is where I couldn't believe like no one's brought this up. Yeah, one of those home games is in Germany. Scrap that whole thing I just said.
Yes,
I'm like, how are they letting him not travel for a month?
I didn't even.
Tom Lyons got me good.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I guess really, Tom Lyons, you exposed yourself that you watched that game.
Yeah, you really told on yourself.
You're telling yourself.
I just kept looking at that. I'm like, why haven't they made them go anywhere? Yeah, they did go to Germany. That was a bad game, guys. Yeah, we're cutting that out. We'll cut that out in post. That's what I get for looking at a Carolina schedule.
I have not tuned into the Carolina Panthers much, but yes, carry on.
I did watch that game. It wasn't great. All right, Rams. Let's see what I have for Rams New Orleans. See if I can save myself here. 3. I couldn't quite get there.
Okay.
I know that there's the offensive advantages we're gonna have for the Rams. Just a little off-putting what they did last week.
Mm-hmm.
That's a much tougher opponent. But this is not the best travel spot either, facing a team off the bye. I think it really comes down to how the Rams pass rush does. If you are able to scheme ways to beat the Rams pass rush, where they're not getting home with all these young players, you're going to beat the tar out of them. Their secondary is super beatable if you can avoid the pressures and the sacks. If you can't, you're going to lose that game because they're going to get home a bunch. Yeah. We've seen it both ways. I think that's why we've seen such a dichotomy in Rams defensive performances. And I mean, just who did they play last?
The Eagles, who can pass for like motherfuckers.
Like, it's just one of the best offensive lines. It's not been a problem. So
Patrick, you stole my next point.
Any trends in the race are coming out the bye? Well, that's what I'm saying. So it's been a beat up, dismembered offensive line. And Carr can make some bad decisions. So
I guess here's where I'm at. I don't have a strong read on the health of the Saints coming out of this bye, but I do think that the two things you get for a bump on the bye beyond just the extra time to, you get two things. Your players get healthier and you get extra time to prepare for your opponent. And I tell you what, when you're having an interim coach like the Rizzler, I don't think you get much from the second of those. I don't think the reinforcements are coming from the receiving standpoint here. And I think that a lot of what you have for success for New Orleans to this point in the year has come against bad defenses, and it's come at the hands of Taysom Hill. And I just don't see that being sustainable.
I don't know that it's not. We haven't seen a coach ever lean this hard into Taysom. It's always been bits and bobbles of him when it was Peyton. And the Rizzler said, I like this Taysom Hill. Why don't I just use the hell out of him? And then we saw the crazy Taysom Hill stat line. Obviously, you're not going to reach those heights every week, but it feels like he's going to be a much more involved. And that's where I worry that they do beat this pass rush by getting him out in space, misdirection, disguised stupid plays, wildcat bullshit, throwbacks, him out in space as a wide receiver, tight end. I'm avoiding this game because I do not want to back New Orleans, but I do worry about the Rams having a bad time with him again. Of course, he loves Taysom. Like Taysom's awesome. I don't know that you can figure it out how to get games like that out of him every week, but if you get 50% of that, you're gonna be a much better offense than you were.
You want a true fact, Nandy? The New Orleans Saints have not left the Big Easy since November 3rd, where they played at the Panthers.
I'm going to check if they went to a different
They
country.
had 2 home games against the Falcons and Browns in the bye week, and now a home game against the Rams. So they had a full solid month of home cooking.
Wait, weren't they just in Germany? Tom chimed in again.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah,
I laid
Saints.
I laid 2.5. I don't know. We'll see. I treat the
it's
Rams
out
as
to 3. I mean, I think you got a good number.
It's an expensive 2.5 most places.
Okay,
yeah.
I have 2.75 written here.
All right. The Eagles Ravens is a really fun game. Good luck finding an edge.
This is
Did you consider playing the Eagles?
Let me look what I
Are you going to play the Eagles? You sound like an Eagles like an Eagles, because here's the thing. Like 3 points is 3 is a key number. Easy number to give to a home team who's elite, like the Ravens. The Ravens have beaten pretty much everyone, all comers except for the bad teams, weirdly beating them, like the Browns and the Raiders. But the Steelers. But the matchup here is not great for Baltimore. I think in particular their defense, and I think Philadelphia and the attention all week and the talk about Saquon Barkley being MVP, blah blah. Great, he's having a great year. Yes, that's all true. But the matchup that matters for this game is certainly
still have all-star wide
Devontae
receivers.
Smith. Yeah, it's the 2 wide receivers against the Baltimore pass funnel. The Philadelphia is going to get into the 30s here. I feel pretty highly confident in that. And I think Baltimore is going to have to basically play keep away. And I don't know if they're going to be able to do that against Philadelphia's defense. I'm not sure what else Philadelphia's defense has to prove. They've beaten 2 good offenses. This is obviously the toughest test. This has been an escalating set of tests for this Philly D. Commanders, Rams, now Ravens. You know,
a little pushback on that would be, the
pass rush isn't healthy.
Huff being out for a few weeks now, and
Graham
then now
done.
Brandon Graham being out for the season. Darius Slay,
rush.
Darius Slay was concussed in the second half on Sunday. Devonta Smith isn't guaranteed to play. He was, he missed last week. I assume he's trending back, but it's a hamstring, and hamstrings can be one of those things where it's like, I
had him penciled in as for sure going to go. I thought last week he was on the cusp.
I have him 80. I have him 80-20.
Okay.
I have him assuming he's in, but hamstrings you can never assume 100%.
Never know.
I don't think. So I worry a little bit about the Philly defense, but like you said, unless Sirianni's an absolute idiot, which
there's no evidence to contradict that, really.
You only you don't get into these heavy sets and just run because that doesn't work against Baltimore. You run when it's not expected, as smart teams do. You spread it out to run against light boxes. You can't abandon Saquon completely, but like you said, you should be attacking this secondary a lot. It's had some nice performances here and there from individual players, but as a whole, if you have good wide receivers and a very good offensive line, like we talked about in Pass Pro, I don't see why the Eagles can't get into the high 20s here. So my numbers say Baltimore, but the matchups say Philly. And then, the defensive matchups kind of say over, but 51's a big number, boys.
Short week for Baltimore. Both these teams coming off prime time.
If you really like Philly team total over Philly, straight up Philly -3 alt line. If you think this is a spot for them,
my number is 1.9. I think this is Philly plus 3 or pass, and I haven't played it yet, and I'm probably not going to play it because I worry a little bit that there's going to be let's just stick to what's working. Let's stick to what's working. Barkley, let's establish the run, and then I'm assuming that what's his face is back. Who's Roquan Smith? I'm assuming Roquan Smith is back for the Ravens. Too. Okay, well if Roquan Smith is out and Devontae Smith is out, then my entire handicap for the game goes out the window. So I don't even fucking know anymore. But I assume that the run won't work with Barkley, and if they are persistent and stubborn and they want to, you know, they're trying to avoid criticism, and because like you can see an outcome here where they go pass heavy and it doesn't work for whatever reason, like Jalen Hurts just has a bad game on the road or whatever, and like everyone after him just kills them. Like you have the MVP and Saquon Barkley. Why how come you only got 12 carries? Right? Like there's a like to me the best game plan for the Eagles. Saquon Barkley gets 12 carries. But like if they don't win and that happens, there's going to be a lot of people who are second guessing their approach, and Sirianni is gonna be back on the defense, which is, you know, clearly where he's at his worst as a human.
The Saquon MVP, you know, donkeys are they're going to be dying a slow death if this is Eagles score 32 points and he has like 40 yards. Even if it's like, hey, those were efficient 40 yards. It was like a touchdown, a couple of third down conversions where they needed him.
Sure.
But it's like if they use him sparingly, and like we've seen Belichick do this for years, where it's like,
of course,
I'm going to take what you're going to give me, even if I run the ball 4 times today. You know, sometimes you just have to take what's there, and you have the offense to do it. God damn it. I might end up going against my numbers here and just taking the Eagles straight up. I've fallen in love with this team a little. Roquan practiced today. I think that probably bodes pretty well. So did Michael Pierce. Arthur Mollett is not practicing. Neither was Van Noy. So little good news, little bad news.
There was a game recently where Saquon Barkley had 66 yards rushing on 14 carries, Andy, and the Eagles scored 34. So we have recent history of exactly that scenario playing out. All right.
Okay.
Let's carry on. The Niners Buffalo Bills. So this is the impossible handicap of all handicaps because the Niners lie and everyone's hurt. And so coming up with a fair price here is extremely tough. I am in the end 70% that Brock Purdy is good to go and is fine and healthy, and 30% that he's already had his arm amputated and we just don't know about it. The reason that I am 70-30 compared to you who are 40-60 is that they didn't sign Daniel Dimes.
I don't think he wanted to play there.
Look, man, when the Dimes cut happened, my antenna flew. I was like, oh shit, Purdy's fucking hurt. Because the buzz all around it was like he wants to go to a playoff contender, and like those kind of backroom agent things like tend to happen all the time. And so like I was like, oh shit, like that he already has a deal in place to go play for the Niners who know Purdy's done for the year or something like that. But then them not making the move and effectively like all of the kind of quasi-positive buzz from people who are not with the organization lying has me thinking that Purdy is going to go, but the market thinks no. A +7 for the Niners means this is the Brandon Allen show. I would think if you're just trying to back it out of the market, then the market to me says like 80-20 Brandon Allen.
Some of it feels like Shanahan hubris, where he thinks he can throw Allen out there and still win. He doesn't need to spend. And part of it was Daniel Jones. It was his decision ultimately.
Sure.
You could have made a bigger offer, but at the same point, he's getting paid from the Giants. You know, it wasn't like a money thing where somebody was going to come into some huge contract for the last 7 weeks and woo him away. He really sounded like he wanted to be on a team that was going to be in the playoffs no matter what. And it's funny because the more you look at this, Sam Darnold isn't under contract next year. Dimes might be the bridge guy before JJ's ready. And then the Giants, if they do draft a quarterback high, they're going to need a free agent bridge quarterback. It might end up with Darnold. I kind of hope these teams play each other again next year.
Week 1, make it week 1 again. Yes.
Week 1 right away again.
Week 1. I love it.
And honestly, yeah, if you have half a brain and you want to say, well, to my agent, how do I decide which teams are probably in the playoffs? I mean, you can just go to NFL.com and look at the percentages if you don't want to dive into the betting markets, but the 49ers are like 20% to make the playoffs at best right now. They have a terrible game coming up. Do you want to hey, you know what'd be fun? Going up to Minnesota and finding out if that's a good spot with me, working with KOC. Or it's like, hey, we need you to step in right away at Buffalo. Have fun. Matt Milano's back, by the way.
Well, that's just the thing. Like, if you want to increase your value, like going and playing for Kyle Shanahan makes a lot of fucking sense. Which is why I kind of thought that was like,
cuts both ways.
Because the getting out of New York felt abrupt to me.
What if you look like shit in that game though? And it's like, it feels like a cut both ways things where I think he knows like someone's going to give him decent enough money next year where he just, all right, I want to go do.
Is that really the case though? I don't know.
Look at the free agents available. He's not going to get the contract he got before. But I mean, he's going to get like backup plus money. It's stupid, but okay. I mean, he started enough games or somebody. Look, Darnold got paid, not big enough, big money, but he's Darnold plus.
Okay. For the record, by the way, there is a guaranteed Minnesota at New York Giants on the schedule for 2025. So there's a chance.
I love that. And then for. The reason this is probably hard to bet right now is Brock Purdy threw the ball, they said, Monday and Tuesday. Didn't practice because those weren't practices. He threw the ball a little. They're going to see how he feels today. Trent Williams missed last week's game with an ankle injury. Nick Bosa has an injury that looks like it could keep him out for a little while because it's hip and oblique. Dre Greenlaw is back in this practice window, but I don't think he's coming back right now. Diamador Lenore had an MRI on his knee. Pooney had an MRI on his shoulder. Flanagan Fowler has a knee injury. Ricardo Green, another corner, has a neck injury. Banks and Elliott, a couple guys in the trenches, had concussions.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bleeping laundry list. And then even though Kincaid didn't practice today, I feel like he may get some practice later this week. They're saying positive things about him. Keon Coleman seems like he's coming back, and Matt Milano's probably coming back. So it's just very opposite vibes in the injury standpoint.
Yeah.
And the 7's starting to look cheap. 6.
Okay. Look, man, I don't have a bet in this game. I only want one. I only want two things: snow and Charvarius Ward interceptions. 3 picks from Charvarius Ward and some snow. That's all I'm asking for here. All I want in Kansas City on Black Friday is snow and 7 touchdown passes for Pat Mahomes. That's all I'm asking for here. I'm not asking for a lot.
What are you thankful for?
All right. Well, I got nothing else to add, but the 7 being cheap is right. If that's the way that if the cards break the way they did last week, this should be 11. Like, honestly,
I was going to say before we move off this, let's say the announcement comes down for wrap right now. It's Brandon Allen, 100% Brandon Allen. You don't know any of the other entries. Let me tell you what my number is. We'll assume Bosa out. We'll assume Trent Williams in, and the rest is up in the air. 8.5, 9.
Bosa's out.
Bosa's out. Well, Trent Williams in.
And the Buffalo Bills get Milano back?
Milano and Keon, but not Kincaid.
My number is thinking. So come on. 9.3.
Okay. And then the other way, it is positive. Purdy looks great. It's fine. They were just cautious. He's 100%. He's going full practice Wednesday. He's playing. We know tonight.
Yeah. I am
4.5.
Yeah. No. 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know about that on the road. I'm not quite there. I'm not quite there. That's a big pay gap for those two. Brandon Allen does suck pretty bad. I don't think they're related.
I've only got
like the same number.
I've only got 2 points of separation between Buffalo and San Francisco if Purdy goes.
If you gave me Buffalo -3 with Purdy playing, I'd play it.
Okay.
Josh Allen he's your MVP. You don't want to hear that?
For now. Yeah, he's
gonna have one. He's gonna have one of these goddamn games every week.
Just remind me who the MVP was on November 27th in 2023. How about in 2022?
Jalen Hurts.
How about in 2021? Yeah,
it's always Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts. Yeah. Well, it's not how you start; it's how you finish.
I'm
All
writing
right.
this
Well,
timestamp down.
I just want
Monday
some,
night? Is that what we have left?
I just want some interceptions. It's not asking for much. Yeah, Monday night is a 5.5 point spread for the home Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos apparently are 5.5 points, or three. What is that? 4. They're 4 points better than Cleveland on neutral. Okay, that's news to me. This is an absurdly high number for a home team that can do some things well, but is going to start a rookie quarterback against Myles Garrett. I had a long conversation with Jay on Bet the Edge about the defense.
Rejuvenated Myles Garrett.
Yes,
That game pumped him up.
It did, and the commentary after, everybody's buying into it. Like, he's literally like, "No, defense. I'm the best defensive player in the NFL. I'm number one. It goes through me." And TJ Watt has not done enough this year to supplant him as the best defensive player. No fucking way. Certainly not recently. And so, yeah, my number one thing that would make me happy from an award standpoint in terms of money making would be Pat Mahomes winning MVP. Number 2 would be Myles Garrett winning DPOY. He is down to 725 at Bookmaker, which is taking the biggest limits in this market. They're taking 2 5K. And I will tell you that 24 hours ago, he was plus 1252. So
I'm still cheering for McKinney for the funny New York vibes.
That'd be fun. Yeah, that would be fun. If they gave up
like
the offensive and defensive player of the year. Yeah. I have a quick note for you, Andy.
I love Myles Garrett, obviously, and I love the Browns.
I don't have anything else to add about this game. We don't have any idea of injuries yet. I love Jameis Winston in prime time, so I'm fired up for this game. But I will tell you this about, and I'd like you to kind of consider this for, like, maybe we'll revisit this at halftime on Monday's game. Maybe when we were talking about when I'm pumping the tires for Myles Garrett. There's a change to the AP's voting that has gone very under the radar. Ranked choice is now top 5 for all awards, the way MVP was last year, which I think
other awards were top 3.
Other awards were top 3, and then the scoring made it so that if you got a bunch of seconds, you were very live, a la Joe Flacco. Now there is a massive premium on first. Relative to last year. So
because if you want to put a name on there, you don't have to sneak him in at third. You can say, like, because sometimes it's like, I got to get this guy in my ballot, even though maybe you don't think he deserves it. You can put him 4th or 5th now.
Yeah,
they're not going to get as many points with the I got to get this guy on here somehow. I don't know. I haven't looked too closely at it. Watt's team success feel like was doing a lot of work for him, and then he'd have 1 or 2 big splash plays. He would always just, like that fumble that just bounced right to him. It's like, fuck, God, how does he keep getting away? He was the ultimate how does he keep getting away for it guy. I think Garrett at 10-1 or better is a pretty nice play. I'm sure you can find some of that out there. Even 7-8-1 isn't terrible because of the narrative around that. The fact that he's going to get another primetime game. It's been an okay offensive line, but if he's going to go full beast mode again, he had 3 sacks in the first half. Like, he can definitely just take it up a notch. I don't know if there was some I don't want to say quit, but effort levels from the whole defense looked quite different before Jameis came back. Yeah. That was a tough game. They got to win. And these are 2 teams I bet on last week. Makes it tough for me, but this was a look ahead I took right away at 6.5. I still think 5.5 is too big. I would make this like 4. I love the Broncos. Yeah. We're a long way out from knowing injury stuff. It's Wednesday afternoon for a Monday game, but Riley Moss, he left with a knee injury. I got to get some updates on him. And then Cedric Tillman is in the concussion protocol, but with a longer week, sometimes you can get back there. Look at this, 17-1 at Bodog.
If you want to burn an account, go get them.
They've been, to be fair, I want to give Bavetta some credit. They've been better about that. They're not.
Good.
They're not the MyBookie level that people used to treat them like 5 years ago. They're getting closer to the Bet Online level, I think.
Good. Last thought on awards, and let's wrap this podcast. Be sure to tune in on Christmas for Kansas City at Pittsburgh. to watch both of my bets lose as TJ Watt has 3 stacks of Pat Mahomes and a forced
3 strip
fumble,
sacks.
and the Steelers beat the Chiefs and end Pat Mahomes' MVP run. All right, with that, happy
This is a
Thanksgiving.
good point by Patrick. You know, account maintenance. If you have 5 books that have prop builder, don't always use the same one.
That's
if you're a prop guy and you're winning, you know, hey, it's prop builder is the same at every book that uses it. Spread it around, guys.
Spread it on.
Any NBA tonight for the guys who made it all the way to the end.
I have the grossest bet and the greatest feeling bet of the world on my card tonight. You know what the grossest one is? Philadelphia. I played Philadelphia again. I'm still going to war with these goddamn clowns. I have Philly as my biggest edge. I have OKC as my second biggest edge. I have Phoenix number 3. I have Cleveland number 4.
I make Chicago
tiny edge on Orlando, but that is just because
really?
That's just because Orlando's playing.
Oh.
Every time Orlando plays, I'm high on Orlando.
What do you think the Sacramento Steam?
I lost on Minnesota last night, and so I'm on suspension from betting Minnesota.
Yeah.
Because obviously I'm missing something. Like I thought the market went against me. Most of the time the market has gone against me on sides this year. I ended up being fine and winning anyway. And so I've just been kind of ignoring market signal, but the market was against me in that Minnesota game and I was wrong. And so right. I'm on suspension from betting Minnesota.
Do you have a Minnesota Timberwolves citrus volcano scented candle?
I don't.
I went to TJ Maxx to get socks, which means I spent $120 on
candles.
Well, I'm like, Timberwolves candle. I'm getting that. That'll go good in my office. This room is probably too small to be burning a candle.
This time of year. Ooh, look at that. Is that a foot massager?
Yeah, you just put it under your desk and you roll your feet on it all day. I love this. It's like $10.
Excellent.
That's the thing. You spend $100 there. Nothing costs more than like $9.50. I had this bundle of stuff I was dropping. Some ladies like, you should have got a card. Yeah,
I love it.
I know that now. So it's
Thanks a lot.
Citrus Volcano, guys.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy holidays. Best to you and yours. Good job by us. An hour and 30 minutes. Unbelievable. You can listen to this at 1.5. I don't know. You're way low.
I couldn't hear you
over the outro. Oh, it was the music over me. I was gonna say you can listen to this at 1.5 speed and get it all in an hour. You're welcome.
I did crank it up there, guys. All right. Have a